Welcome to the Church of Athos and welcome to Tithe Collecting with Teysa Karlov. Emmara owes some money to the church, so we're going to come knocking. As far as opening hand goes, we've got Living Death, Banisher Priest. We don't really have any card draw. I mean, I like this. This is something that I would love to have a late game, but since we really have no way to kind of further our board state load, let's just go ahead and mulligan on this one. I'm not super wide. Yeah, we can make this work. We've got Alinda, we got Fiend Hunter, Edgewalker. Yes, we will keep on this one. Typically, you just want to have some sort of, smorgasbord of, Blood Artist. Yes, well, yeah, you're going on top. All right, let's go and lead off with Windswept Heath. Make sure we don't crack that one, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Teysa Karlov, the official tithe collector for the church. In fact, Emmara has not been paying her 10% to the church, so we're going to show up to her forest and try to collect it today. So we're playing Teysa. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Then creature tokens you control have Vigilance and Lifelink. Playing against Emmara, Soul of the Accord. Whenever Emmara becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with Lifelink. All right, so we draw into Blood Artist. Let's get down City of Brass, and let's go ahead and crack Windswept Heath. Let's go for the, what is it, man? Tundra? No, Scrubland. I play with these dual lands so much, but I can never remember their names sometimes. All right, so we're going to take one off of City of Brass. Let's get down Blood Artist, and then kick the turn back over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to get into some Commander Online, Magic Online is your #1 source for that. It's the only place where you can play Magic Online. And Magic Online needs you. I know this sounds like a late night, like a animal commercial slash, for $1 a day you can save these, but Arena has definitely taken a pretty big toll on the 1v1 commander scene. So if you're on the fence about getting into it, you certainly should. It's always nice to have a few extra people in the room to kind of record with, and card prices are pretty low right now, so it'd be a good time to get in, and you can pick up some pretty good foundations. So we've got Hideaway. If you attack with 3 or more creatures, I guess at this point, we'll just grab, well, I could see us getting into a point to where we might end up going for Tithe over Oligarch. But Oligarch might be a nice thing for us to get down once we kind of get a pretty good board state developed to get a few extra spirit tokens. Actually, let's just grab Mana Vault. That's always a very safe bet. Put those on the bottom in any order. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yes, get into Magic Online. If you've been on the fence, it'll be nice to see some fresh faces in the room. And also, let's give a quick shout out to inkedgaming.com. Let's say that you're in the market for a custom playmat. Use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel out at the same time. And let's say that you've really enjoyed one of my thumbnails and you're like, man, that would look great as my desktop wallpaper for home personal use. I've started to put a link down to some wallpaper art of each thumbnail that I do in the description of each video. So you really like Teysa and you're like, man, I'd love to have this as my desktop wallpaper to show off to my friends whenever they come over to my house. Hey, there you go. Look down in the description below. You can have some fun with that wallpaper. But anyway, now it is officially free time. We can do whatever we want. Opponent's going to get off to a quick start. They get down to Emmara, and they're going to end up with a soldier token. So let's see what we run into. I'd really like to see a land. Banisher Priest. Okay. So Shauna, she cannot be the target of ability. So that's really going to cut us off something like Banisher Priest. If we end up going for Edgewalker, that's going to give us a really good reduced cost off some of these creatures. I think that's what we're going to do. So, let's just go Edgewalker. That's going to be black, and we'll type down on Hideaway. That'll be 1 damage. Now, one of the fun things about this deck, if you haven't seen this deck before, is this is a if you haven't seen the Church of Athos before, this is a very, very heavy human cleric deck. It's a lot of fun, and one of the cards that we seemingly don't really get a huge opportunity to get down is Edgewalker. This is one of my favorite clerics in the church, and cleric spells you cast cost white and a black less to cast. So let's say that we have Banisher Priest. It's going to be costing basically just 2 mana. Same thing for Fiend Hunter. That puts us in a point with Ravos Soul Tender where we can basically get it down for 3 mana, which is a really good feeling. So we're looking at a Soul Tender next turn. That's going to give us a really nice buff to the board state and hopefully kind of keep Emmara in check. So, but yeah, if you haven't seen the church before, this is all about getting down human clerics and sacrificing and letting Blood Artists just paint a beautiful painting for our opponent. And it's funny the way this promo art is. She looks like a giant, like Gate Colossus or something like that. So we've got a lifelink soldier swinging in. Do we want to? I mean, I don't really think I'm worried about any sort of random blocker, and if we can keep Shauna in check. I mean, if they've got a pump spell, they've got it. It's just a 2/2 with lifelink. It's just a soldier token. So we'll see if they've got a pump spell. Oh, ooh, goodness. Opponent goes for Might of Masses. Target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature that you control. And so that's going to put us down to 13. Yeah, I need to get Emmara going, and that's actually a pretty good spell. I need to get that added to my Emmara deck. All right, so we're going to be looking at Ravos Soul Tender for next turn, and we draw into Soul Warden. So what we can do is we can actually cast Soul Warden for free. Oh, look at that. I was like, I'm pretty sure we can do that, yeah. And let's go for Ravos Soul Tender. That's just going to be 3 colorless mana. Unfortunately, we are taking a little bit of hit off of this City of Brass, but the way this deck is set up, there's a lot of like double white, double black, so that's kind of why I'm running Soul Tender in here. I mean, running City of Brass in here. There's just sometimes where we have, a few of our utility lands or something like that, and so that really kind of helps us make sure that we're on color for our creatures. So if you're wondering why City of Brass is in here, that is why. All right, so we're going to get a little bit of life gain from Soul Warden, and then anything else, no, I think we're going to pass the turn. So our opponent's Shauna is sitting at a 4/4. We can make a trade if we need to. And I guess we could technically kind of swing into that board state, but we kind of need to kind of back off just a little bit, and hopefully we can find ourselves a little bit of stabilizing point. We've got Blood Artist, we've got Soul Warden, we do have Fiend Hunter and Banisher Priest that we can get down if we run into another land drop. That'll at least allow us to kind of keep Emmara in check, keep the Impassioned Warrior, the life gain Human Cleric in check, and now that I think about it, we might need to see if we can get Orator in the deck. That is a Human Cleric with life gain, so that might be a pretty good addition to the church, especially in scenarios like this where we're just getting a lot thrown at us. So that's going to be 7. That's going to be 9, and that's going to be 10. It's going to put us down to 5, just in case there's some sort of you know what? We'll go and block on this soldier token. Actually, we'll do that. We'll go Soul Warden on Soldier Token, and let's go for Edgewalker on Orator. Yeah, that's a good way for us to still keep Shauna in check. And once again, if they have a mass combat trick, then the game might be over, but hopefully they don't. It is a pretty sweet to get hit with something like Might of the Masses. Like, hitting those combat tricks always feels really good. Okay, things are going good. We're getting a couple Blood Artist triggers. We're holding them at bay. And as long as we can get down Banisher Priest or Fiend Hunter next turn, we'll be in a pretty good spot. Let's see what our opponent's going to be casting now. This is during the damage step. Alright, so our opponent was tapping mana during the damage step, and I've done that before too, where you're like, you think it's your second main phase, and also our opponent is a friend of the channel, so shout out to our opponent. If you ever see me in the Magic Online room and you say something in the chat and I don't respond, basically Magic Online has stopped giving me chat notifications, not just me personally, like we're going to target Jolt. They don't display chat notifications as default now, and I need to go in there and change it. So if you ever say something in the chat and I don't respond, that's pretty much why. I just straight up just missed it. All right, so we do run into a plane, so we're really going to get some good clerics going. We could get down Teysa, but at this point right now, we want to kind of try to keep some of this stuff in check. So let's end up going for Banisher Priest. That's going to be double white. Actually, let's do it this way. Double white. We go for Banisher Priest on Emmara. That's at least kind of going to slow down the Shauna roll. Let's get that life gain from Soul Warden. Let's go for Banisher Priest on Emmara. And then if we do end up chump blocking with Banisher Priest on our opponent's commander, we can still, at least with Ravos Soul Tender, kind of bring it back during our upkeep. And you know what? Yeah, let's go and push in, because we want to get this. We want to kind of open us up on a little bit of mana. I mean, I'm not super well. Yeah, we swing in Blood Artist, we go Edgewalker, we go Soul Ward, and we have Ravos swing in. I think we can swing in on the back end, especially if we get down Fiend Hunter. We'll see if our opponent wants to trade with his Soldier Token. They're probably not, and then we'll at least be able to get in for a pretty good chunk of damage. We could end up going for Mana Vault, but I think at this point, we've got Alinda, we've got Teysa. If we tap down Mana Vault, we'll be taking some damage. So I think we just kind of roll out Fiend Hunter. I think that's going to be a little bit better. All right, so we're going to end up going for Fiend Hunter. We're going to be able to exile that last little Soldier Token and end up with a couple Human Clerics, the security for the church. We got the double Banishers over here. Let's go Soul Warden trigger. And let's go exiling soldier token. Okay, there we go. Now the good thing about us exiling a token is that this is going to be a permanent exile because it's basically a token. And there we go. We're going to gain that 1 life, put us back up to 11, and then anything else, kick it back over to our opponent. Now, as far as the church goes, you know, we have human clerics in here, we've got blood artists. This is one of those fun board states that if we draw into a board wipe, even something like Toxic Deluge, we draw into something like Damnation. Once we get down Teysa and we blow the entire board up, that's going to amplify all of these triggers. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that'll be a really good way for us to kind of attack our opponent's life total and still have some fun. But at this point right now, we've at least kind of kept Shauna in check with that +1/+1. So opponents go for Path. Oh, on Ravos. Okay, that's what happened. All right, yes, we're going to use that ability. That'll at least give us another land. And I think we'll grab Swamp. That way we can hopefully kind of stop going for the City of Brass activation. All right, opponent's going to get down Champion. Attacks me, tapping in, remember, gets +1/+1 for each creature tapped this way. Yeah, there's some pretty good updates to Emmara. I need to play her again. It's been a little while. And then we draw into Crypt. Okay, so we get down Crypt. Because the Vampire Knight, Human Advisor. So unfortunately, we're not going to catch any sort of reducing cost off of Edgewalker. Yeah, I guess we just go ahead and get down Linda. I think we're good with it. Yeah, let's get down to Linda, because this is going to be a good way. It's going to be lifelink, and if we start swinging into our opponent and getting a few extra counters on there, it's going to be a little bit easier for us to kind of push past that. And at this point, I think we swing in with Banisher Priest, and we swing in with Edgewalker, because if they want to trade either way, I think I'm totally fine with this. Because Shauna's only going to get bigger if they get another creature down, and that's really going to hopefully allow us to kind of, you know, nickel and dime our way into this one. Because, you know, 4 points of damage and Aristocrats win. If we can get our opponent down to into about the 10 range, 11, 12, kind of makes something like a board wipe, Blood Artist win pretty feasible. Then if we draw into a Sack Atlas, something like Viscera Seer, if he's done holding his Human Heart, then we can get some pretty good stuff going. But yeah, as far as any additions to the deck, I don't think we've made any changes. You know, my initial build of the deck, I was pretty happy with it, and there might have been a few suggestions here. Tindershoot Dryad. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're 1 away from the City's Blessing, and especially during our upkeep, once they get that token down, that's going to be an active City's Blessing. So we've got ourselves a game right now. The only good thing is that we at least get another, we get a little bit of life gain off of those creatures entering the... Ooh, Doom Whisperer. Okay. Yeah, so what we can do, it's going to take some setting up, but yeah, I think we get down Doom Whisperer on this one. Yeah, let's go for that. Yeah, let's get down Doom Whisperer. Well, we could get down Taysom, but like I mentioned, we're trying to set up a Blood Artist win. And if we can't set up a Blood Artist win, one of the best ways for us to kind of find some sort of answer is definitely going to be Doom Whisperer. And with Soul Ward on the battlefield, that's going to allow us to kind of negate some of that pay 2 life and surveil for 2. But yeah, we don't really want to push into this board state, and hopefully we can use Doom Whisperer to kind of keep some of these saplings at bay. So, but yeah, as far as Doom Whisperer, so it reminds me of my Teysa deck that I built for Arena. The Teysa deck with Arena it has Doom Whisperer in there, and it also has the Life, I can't remember what the name of it, but it's a 5-mana angel from the new set that enters the battlefield. I think it has Flash, and then once it goes to the graveyard, you can pay 6 mana to make your life total 10. And so what you can do is, you know, let's say that's in the, I think it's Angel of Grace. I might be wrong on that. But with, once you get down Doom Whisperer and Angel of Grace is in your graveyard, you can sit there and, like, surveil, like, almost, you know, if you're 11, you can surveil 5 times, and then if you've got the mana, you can exile Angel of Grace out of your graveyard to make your life total 10, and it's just kind of like a rinse and repeat with Doom Whisperer, and it always feels really good. All right, opponent was not going to push in on this one, and I think we need to be aggressive with this Doom Whisperer. We don't want to get our life total down super low. There's no trample at this point right now. Yeah, we're not seeing any trample, so what we're probably going to do on this one is just be pretty aggressive with this Doom Whisperer right now, because we need to surveil. With that surveil, it works out perfectly for this deck, because another one of our win conditions is something like Living Death. So if we can just start dumping some creatures into the graveyard, that'll certainly help us find some sort of answer. So Pawn of Ulamog. Ooh, Volrath Stronghold. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is not going to be enough for Pawn because that is not a human cleric. That would definitely be a good opportunity in this one. It's going to be a good way for us to kind of amplify some tokens. But I think it's better served in the graveyard. So you know what, let's go and put that into the graveyard. Let's go for one more Surveil. And we're probably going to do this till we get to down to about 10, because we want to find either, you know, board, if we can find, ooh, Zulaport too. And Tithe. Because if we can find a board wipe, we might be able to close it out. Yeah, you know what? Let's go and put Tithe into the graveyard. We're going to leave Zulaport on top. That's going to be a good one. Because that really kind of opens us up to where we can be super aggressive with Doom Whisperer next turn. So, and also it allows us to go for Teysa also. All right, so we're going to get that life gain off of Soul Warden. Basically be able to kind of negate a lot of the stuff that we did. Let's go for Zulaport Cutthroat. That's going to be another life gain from Soul Warden. Let's go for Teysa. Okay, so we're going to get down Taysom. Now, at this point right now, we've got a ton of good stuff on the battlefield. And the only really thing that we need to dig for is going to be, like I mentioned, some sort of board wipe. We've got the board wipe protection with Blood Artist. We've got the double, almost quadruple amplifying effect on our side of the battlefield. In fact, we're not going to swing in with Doom Whisperer because we do need Doom Whisperer to kind of be up on blocking duty. But we'll kind of go over some of the aristocrat math in just a second as soon as we pass the turn to our opponent. So with Blood Artist, so each creature is going to trigger twice because of Teysa. And so that's going to be strictly just from Blood Artist. Each creature that dies, that's going to be 1/2. Now we added Zulaport, that's going to be double. So each creature is going to make our opponent lose 4 life and we gain 4 life. Now here's the kicker. So it's going to be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So that's definitely going to be enough if we run into a board wipe. But let's say that we don't have enough, something happens to Teysa. Even if we do draw into some sort of toxic or other board wipe, Zulaport Cutthroat's not going to trigger for our opponents, but thankfully Blood Artist does. So if you've never played Aristocrats and you don't know the difference between Blood Artist and Zulaport, Blood Artist says whenever another creature dies, it doesn't care who owns it. So that's how it opens you up to get some sort of board wipe. And then with Zulaport Cutthroat, it's only contingent on the creatures that you have on your side of the battlefield. But thankfully we've got both of them on the battlefield, and we've got at least about 8... Yeah, we've got about 8 different triggers. 8 Surveil triggers that we can go for with Doom Whisperer because we need to find a board wipe. So hopefully we can find it at the top and not lose to some sort of sapling thing. And the good thing about us is having these Blood Artists. Ooh, they're going to go for Cage, and let's see what they end up going for with Cage. I could see, honestly, if I'm getting the Cage down, I'm probably going to end up going for Blood Artist because that's going to cut us off any sort of action. But this is definitely going to be... All right, they're going to go for Teysa. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. Because even if we do the math, I think we can still get a board wipe win. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that in response anyway. She's going to go to the command zone. That kind of does cut us down a little bit. Makes it to where it's 2 per creature. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Yeah. So if we do run into another board wipe, we still should be able to get it once we clear the entire board out. And it also does kind of keep us open to where none of our opponent doesn't have any sort of reach on their side of the battle. Look at that soldier token with that angelic exaltation. It's going to be a 10-10. Who do we want to throw in front of that? We definitely need to throw somebody in front of it. Yeah, because I think Doom Whisper in the air might help us kind of close it out. So I think at this point, we just straight up just go Fiend Hunter on that soldier token. That's going to give them a life gain, also kind of give us 2 Blood Artist triggers. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us to dig, and also get a few extra counters on Alinda. All right, so we're going to make our opponent lose a life, and there's no creature to return with Fiend Hunter. We'll go for the +1/+1 on Alinda. And it's going to put them at only 1 more mana open. So at this point right now, we're going to be super aggressive with these Doom Whisperer triggers. Let's go and pay 2 to Surveil for 2. Ooh, Suture Priest. And then Bloodthorn. So Bloodthorn Vampire is definitely going to be our sack outlet. But with them sitting at 27, yeah, we need to... Oh, man. Yeah, I forgot that that lifelink, that +9, that's really hard to combat. So let's go put that into the graveyard at this point right now. And the good thing about us dumping cards in the graveyard is we find the Living Death. That's another way for us to kind of reset on this. Let's go graveyard. And at this point right now, with that exaltation, like once they keep swinging in with the soldier token, there's just not much we can do about it. Their life gain is going to get so high that we can't stop it with an aristocrat's win. So at this point right now, we need to be super aggressive with this Doom Whisper. As much as I'm not a huge fan of it, reanimate, we don't really need that right now. We could Bloodthorn Vampire. I don't think that's what we want to do. Let's put it into the graveyard. Let's go for 1 more Surveil. And this is one of the good things about Doom Whisperers. You can just really dig into your library. Yeah, I think those go into the graveyard. Come on. If you're keeping score at home, it's time to start praying to the church, praying to Athreos. Put that on the bottom. And because the longer we sit here, the more sapling tokens they get, it's harder for us. Oh, there we go. Finally hit a board wipe. Let's go and put that into the graveyard. And let's put Damnation on top. That is just in time. Exactly what we wanted to see. Okay, they're going to get an extra token. And then Alinda does... she does not have... For some reason, I always think Alinda has flying. All right, and let's do a quick little check. I don't think anybody has reach over there. Last thing I want to do is swing a Doom Whisperer into something like that. All right, so let's go and push in with Doom Whisperer. And then either way, we're going for Damnation. It's gonna, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to close it out, but it's going to get really close, especially with double people on the battlefield. We could try to set it up to where we get down to Linda and really close the game out, but we need to hit the reset button on this game really quick, and Damnation certainly allows us to go for that. Well, hold on. We've got pawn, 2, 3. We've got 3. That's going to be... No, I don't think we have enough for that. Okay, I don't know what happened. Tried to go for tap down and crypt, but it just kind of blanked out really quick. So let's go for Damnation, and we have nothing else that we need to do. We have no sack outlets. Okay, all right, so let's go for Damnation. It's going to clear the board out. We're at least going to end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on our side of the battlefield, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I think that should be lethal, unless our opponent has some sort of answer to stop this Damnation. This will be a beautiful way to close it out with the Church of Athreos. Let's see. Okay, so they're going to give the champion indestructible, but I don't think that's going to be enough. So we go for Damnation. And the funny thing is, if they end up using Convoke on Emmara, that gives us an extra token to go for Emmara. All right, so our opponents, we get the board wipe to go through. Let's get, oh, look, this is a beautiful church service right here. Let's get these triggers on the stack. And what I may end up doing is just speeding this up. All right, look at that. Barely get it done. We had one more Blood Artist painting left on the stack. We put our opponent down to 0. You can see how good of a demon Doom Whisperer is in this church. We're so thankful to have him. He serves so many purposes here in the church, putting stuff into the graveyard, allowing us to get some beautiful church surfaces going for our opponent. And once again, good game to our opponent. If they said something in the chat, I can't pull it up right now. They did mention that they're a friend of the channel, so hopefully you get to see this video. But you can definitely see this is exactly what we want to do with the church. You know, unfortunately, Teysa got exiled, so we didn't get to really amplify this out. But the fact that we're able to swarm the board with a ton of clerics, a ton of parishioners, the word of Athreos was really ringing in Emmara's ears, and she definitely paid her tithes to the church today. So, if you enjoyed your time at the church, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.